Hello and welcome to Minerals, Rocks, and Fossil Talks. I'm your paleo teacher, Jen, and it's time for Fossil Friday. We're going to take a look at Manny the Mammoth. And if you haven't seen Ice Age, pause for a moment, go watch it, then come back, because it's a great movie. Mammothus primigenius, better known as the woolly mammoth, is probably the most well-known of the Ice Age megafauna. It lived across the northern hemisphere from Eurasia to North America from about 774,100 years ago to about 37,000 years ago. The remains had been known about by Native Americans and Siberians for a long time, but the first human to actually study them scientifically was Mr. Hans Sloane, a British physician and naturalist. He was the first to recognize the fossils as belonging to elephants. But it was the famous French biologist Georges Cuvier who realized they were the remains of extinct elephants and not living ones. No one is quite sure where the word mammoth came from, but it is a word that has come to mean anything of surprisingly large size, thanks to Mr. Thomas Jefferson. And you know what? It's a fun word, so I'm okay with it. The woolly mammoth lived on a tundra steppe. It was similar to steppes of modern Russia, but with a more diverse flora that grew faster. It lived alongside mastodons like the American mastodon, the Colombian mammoth with its monster tusks, woolly rhinoceroses, wild horses, steppe bison or the longhorned bison, cave lions, cave bears, giant sloths like megalonyx, and of course, early humans. The woolly mammoth belongs in the class Mammalia, the infraclass Placentalia, the magna-order Atlantogenata, the superorder Afrotheria, the grand order Paangulata, the mirror order Tethytheria, the order Proboscidea, the suborder Elephantiformes, the clade Elephantomorpha, the clade Elephantoidea, and the family Elephantidae. Lots of big fancy words there. Its closest living relative is the Asian elephant. Woolly mammoths are incredibly well known thanks to the many frozen specimens that have been found in the permafrost. The average shoulder height for males is between 9 and 10 feet, or 2.8 and 3 meters, and females between 7 and 8 feet, or 2.3 to 2.6 meters. This is about the size of a modern African bush elephant, but smaller than other mammoths. They were covered in fur, had small ears, a short tail, and a layer of fat up to 10 centimeters thick to help keep them warm. Cave paintings show they had a single domed skull, a sloping back, and a high shoulder hump. The coat of fur consisted of at least 2 layers, maybe 3, looks like, in this picture at least 2 hair layers. An outer layer of long, coarse guard hair, and a dense inner layer of short, curly wool. If you study mammoths, maybe you can explain if the ovirhairs are actually different than the guard hairs or the same thing. I don't study mammals, so I don't know. Woolly mammoths have very long, curved tusks. The longest known male tusks were 13.3 feet long, or 4.05 meters. The tusks were usually asymmetrical, as shown in this photograph, and they show a lot of variation. They also had 4 functional molars, and these molars are considered the most complex of any elephant. I mean, look at this thing. That's intense. Now, due to the curvature, the tusks were not useful for stabbing, but injuries to shoulder blades indicate they could be used for hitting. Woolly mammoths were built to withstand incredibly cold climates. Aside from the two layers of fur and the layer of fat, they had lipoplexes, or fat storage, in their necks and their withers for when food was less scarce. The well-preserved trunk of a juvenile specimen nicknamed Yucca, shown above, possessed a fleshy expansion a third above the tip that was elliptical in cross-section rather than oval like the rest of the trunk, and double the diameter. This was possibly a fur mitten that would cover the hairless tip of the sensitive trunk. It could possibly also melt snow if a shortage of water occurred. Like other polar animals, the hemoglobin in its blood was adapted to improve oxygen delivery around the body and prevent freezing. These large animals mainly ate grasses and sedges, but would occasionally supplement this with other plants. Babies nursed for about 3 years before they were weaned, which is longer than modern elephants. It is thought that they had about the same lifespan as modern elephants, and many mammoths seem to have suffered from arthritis and gum disease. Mammoths were also particularly useful as a food source and a tool source for Neanderthals. Well, thanks for coming to today's lesson, and make sure you tune in on Monday to learn about the mineral fluorite. Have a good weekend, and fossilize you later.